So whatever your age, whatever your ability, how much better can you really get at surfing? I recently jumped on a Renegade trip to Indo to find out. We stayed at the Mandiri Beach Club in Sumatra with coaches and filmers, and for getting better at surfing, it's a pretty hard setup to beat. For the first couple of days of the trip, we had a really unseasonably large swell. We're talking like 7 foot, 15 seconds sort of thing, you know, like the kind of swell that you get quite often in the dry season. It meant out front was too big and we had to go up coast, but thankfully the swell dropped off, the conditions cleaned up a little bit, and things got really, really dreamy out front. So after the initial few sessions were out the way, we had some really fun conditions at the beach break, you know, just straight out front. We could see the waves from our bed, which is incredible, just glassy, sort of head-high, wedgy peaks, just not like all-time waves, but just the most enjoyable, fun, easy to surf waves you can imagine. So I had some really fun surfs, and then after we did a couple of video analysis sessions, and I had a good sit down with Mark Boyd for some insights into my surfing. There were a lot of things that I could do better, as there kind of always is, but we kind of narrowed it down to 2 main focuses for this trip, and that was snaps and airs. So just before I get deep into this, thank you so much to Renegade for bringing me on this trip. Renegade run world-class coaching trips in the most progression-friendly waves on earth. Whether it's Sumatra or the Maldives, these trips will put you in the perfect environment to get better at surfing. I've been on both a Maldives trip and a Sumatra trip now, and on both trips I've had a sick time, and I've gained some really useful insights into my surfing and how to improve. So Renegade trips also just remove all of the annoying logistics that come with a lot of surf trips. So all you have to do is go surfing. All the trips have filmed surf sessions, dedicated sit-down sessions with a coach, and video analysis sessions every single night. So that combined with really fun waves in tropical paradise, there just really isn't a better way to improve your surfing. So I'll leave the link in the description if you want to find out more. For now, let's get back to the video. So for snaps, I've always found, especially frontside snaps, really difficult maneuvers to do. I don't know about you guys, but I just find it really hard to sort of do a good bottom turn on a small wave and like jam it up into the pocket and have like really good form with my arms. I always find that I try to kick it out the lip and then my arm just flails, like my back arm or my front arm flails, and it just looks awkward. So even if the board does the movement that I want it to do, my body kind of looks a bit horrible, or I do good form but the fins don't pop out the lip and I don't push water, I kind of just drag the board down with my front foot. So one of the things that was highlighted was that I was trying to do the snap too late. My momentum was just going straight up the wave, and often I would get hung up in the lip, and when I went to do that it'd be too late. My fins would just slide out, I'd fall back, or I'd just bog. So another thing was, as my front foot sort of reaching the lip, I'd quite often just sort of drag my board down and not do that nice kicking motion. When you see a really good surfer do a frontside snap, their weight goes like that. And yeah, you can see in these couple of clips here, there's a few attempts where I don't really do it properly. And then there's some later ones that I do a little bit better, and it's got more of that flick. Still not with perfect form, but if I can combine that sort of fins out turn with better arm position, I'd be really happy with that. So on the backside, I feel like I'm way better at backside snaps, but I don't know if it's because I was being filmed and wanted to do good turns with people watching or whatever, that I was trying to just go too big and like go really vertical into the lip and throw fins out and do that kind of stuff. But way too often I would go too high and go into the lip and just get hung up, get stuck at the top and not make it back down. So like I'd do a decent bottom turn, swing into it, do a good arm lift, but then all my momentum from that would like shoot me up the wave and I wasn't turning back down to do the turn early enough, which is really frustrating. I blew so many waves by doing this. It's so annoying. And it's not something that I like can't do because I've done decent backhand snaps before, but you know, it's really easy to have bad habits come into your surfing. So Boydie pointed out that if I just start doing the turn a little bit earlier, so as my front foot reaches the lip, I whip my body back round to look back to the white water, stay nice and low, and through the next few sessions, having that pointed out, you can see here a bit of a difference. Whipping my body around, especially my head, a little bit earlier, you can see the difference in the turn there. It's way more dynamic, looks way cooler. And then the next thing with that, to then make that even spicier, would be to sort of get my back knee and my front arm down onto the deck of the board. When you watch really good surfers, if you take like Conor O'Leary, for example, sick backhand, he'll go up into the lip and his back knee will like go right onto the deck of the board. He's super compressed, he's got his front arm on the nose of the board as well, super low. And that's the huge difference you can see with my turn here compared to one like Conor's. Is way faster, way more dynamic. But if I could get my snaps from going like this to like that, I think those two little things are like the difference between the two. Obviously, Conor's way more attributes that make him a better surfer as well. So yeah, for you guys watching, if that's a maneuver that you're struggling to do, a good rule of thumb is if you're going up into the lip, just as your front foot reaches the lip, you want to then twist your body, throw it back down towards the white water, and the more whip and rotation you have with your head, the more gnarly like the turn will be, you know. If you don't move your head that much, the turn will be like a half turn. But if you fully whip it around, that's when you're more likely to get spray or like whip the fins out. It's gonna be way sicker. So as the days progressed, I went crazy in the amount of surfing I was doing because the waves were so fun just out front. I had so many surf sessions. I was surfing at least 3 times a day, just in and out of the water all day. Surfed at first light, then straight back in after breakfast for a couple more hours, and then when I was too exhausted and too tired, come back in, maybe have a quick nap, have some food, have a quick massage, and then basically go straight back out again for the evening session just before dark. For most of our trip, the forecast was pretty small, so we didn't get loads and loads of tubes. There were a few scattered around at times, so it was fun to have that. But it mostly turned into an air camp for me. Airs have been something I've never ever been able to do, and I've not even been remotely close to ever landing them. So this is really cool for me to sort of practice. I had so many ramps, and as you can see here in this little compilation, I wasted a hell of a lot of opportunity. So yeah, there were so many sessions where I just went out, repeated the same mistakes. Kind of a frustrating session, to be honest. Oh man, shocking session. Kind of making the same mistakes again though. Terrible session. Didn't get the air sections that I wanted to practice. This morning, a little bit on the frustrating side. Again, I had the stuff in mind, but didn't really do it. Had a couple of air attempts, which, as you can see by this surfboard, were not very successful. So pretty savage double crease around the rails. Gnarly. But it was really cool to have that repetition. I've never had it so consistently, where I've had so many ramps, so much opportunity to practice, and then have someone point things out to me as well who can do airs. The first thing that I learned about doing airs was obviously you've got to have loads of speed, but I kind of already knew that, so all too often I'd race down the line and kind of outrun the wave, and by the time I'd raced all the way to the end looking for an end section to punt off, I'd already lost my speed. So something I got taught by Mark was to do something called closing the gap. and closing the gap means you want to wait for the section to come to you. So instead of pumping all the way down the line, you want to almost stall, you know, like how John or all the best air guys, they stall and then do like 1 or 2 pumps, or even just straight into like a mid-face bottom turn into the launch. That makes so much difference in how much speed you go into the air with. You can see the difference here where I'm like pumping along, I'm launching, but I don't have any speed by the time I've gone into it. So after I got that info, I went back out, tried a few more where I like stalled off takeoff and just waited for it a little bit. And I found that alone, even though I wasn't doing the airs that well still, that was a really cool difference that I noticed straight away. And then the second thing that I really tried to focus on was to keep my arms like just over my board, because so often I like go really fast, launch off a section, and then as I throw, either my front arm would flail back or my back arm would flail back, or both arms would just like flail like this. And you can see that with that body position, I'm never going to land an air, like my weight's just thrown backwards, so it's always going to be a flyaway. When I had a section, I then started thinking of, right, wide stance, wait for the section to come to me, and then as soon as I jump off the section, I'm going to keep this arm like this, up here, like that. And just having that little thought alone made me, yeah, stay with my board a little bit more. And it was just 2 really small things that got me a little bit closer to being able to land one. Then I still had a few opportunities where I had a really good section and then one of my arms would still let me down. So even though I had all this knowledge, I couldn't put it together, which, you know, it's a really hard thing in surfing to be told something and then go right out and do it on the very next wave. You know, I guess it's really easy to be hard on yourself for not being able to do it straight away, but I think that's just part of the learning process. Just be a bit kinder to yourself, and you know, it's going to take time. Even though you get told something straight away, you won't master it straight away. It does take time to implement it, but it just all comes with water time, just putting in loads and loads of time, just trying over and over and over again. Doesn't matter if you mess things up, like that's part of the game, you know, that's almost the fun of it. The other thing with airs as well, which was really letting me down, was not sucking my knees up. So you can see on quite a lot of these attempts, you know, I launch, kind of stay over it, but then I'm straight legged, so I'm like kicking the board away from me. So I'm never gonna land like that. I'm gonna become disconnected from my board. But if I launch and then suck my knees up to my chest, so my knees are almost like this on my chest, then I'm gonna have way more chance of landing it. So yeah, after loads of frustrating sessions and so many attempts at launching airs, I did get a little bit closer. I mean, I'm not gonna be getting invited to Stab High anytime soon, that's for sure. But for the first time in my however long of surfing, 15 years of surfing or whatever, I felt like if I have the right section and I think about my body position, I could land one. Whereas before it was like, oh, I'm just kicking away and I've got no hope in hell of landing one. Okay, to summarize this video, let's have a look at some of the comparisons from the start of the trip to the end of the trip. So you can see snaps, first few days of the trip, you know, doing a few okay ones in between, a few bogs and a few ones that go too vertical and get hung up in. And so you can see here there's a few snaps that look way better than on the first few days. I was quite happy with some of these clips. They just look faster, more powerful, more dynamic. Obviously still got a hell of a long way to go with some of these, but now I feel like I've got that knowledge. I can really start stepping up my surfing. And then airs as well, you can see all these flyaway attempts that we've already looked at. You see terrible attempts, getting speed and stuff and height, but they're always just going to be flyaways. And then you can see at the end where, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to claim that I'm landing proper airs at the minute. They're pretty small, but that little bit of progression is really exciting for me at least. So yeah, I feel like with those new bits of knowledge, if I get the right section now, I'm really excited to like go out and try them at least, because for so long I've just not even tried them. Even though it might seem subtle to some of you watching, I was really happy with my progression and definitely happy with some of the knowledge that I've taken away from the trip. So if you guys like this video, you were inspired by it, you learned something about your surfing, or you've got any questions about getting better at surfing, please comment down below. If you want to find out more about the Renegade trips, see the link down in the description. Thanks for watching. For now, it's goodbye from me, and I'll see you in the next ep.